Mother-in-law tried to destroy my wedding dress. You won't believe what happened. Before we begin the story, make sure to subscribe to our channel and never miss more incredible stories every day. I swear my heart stopped when I pushed open the bedroom door. My wedding dress, my dream dress, the one I had saved for, cried over, and pictured myself walking down the aisle in, was lying on the floor like a corpse. The satin bodice was shredded, the delicate lace sleeves torn apart as if someone had taken scissors to them in a blind rage. And worst of all, the train, my beautiful, hand-beaded train, was soaked in what smelled unmistakably like red wine. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. My hands trembled as I crouched down, touching the fabric, praying it was some kind of nightmare. My vision blurred with tears. Who would do this? Who could be so cruel, so vicious, as to destroy the one thing I had dreamed of since I was a little girl? The answer came almost instantly, like a whisper I already knew but didn't want to admit. His mother, my future mother-in-law. She'd made it clear from the very beginning that she didn't approve of me. The cold stares, the snide comments about my family, the way she always tried to suggest changes for the wedding, as if it were hers, not mine. She once even told me, straight-faced, "I don't think you're the kind of woman my son should marry." And when I told my fiancé, Daniel, he brushed it off. "That's just how she is, don't take it personally," he'd say. But this wasn't just how she is. This was war. I stood there in shock. Then fury began to seep into my veins. My body shook as I pulled out my phone, snapping photos, needing proof. My breath came in ragged gasps, my chest tight with betrayal. I knew she hated me, but I didn't think she would go this far. Destroying my wedding dress? The day before my wedding? Just then, the door creaked behind me. My blood turned cold. I turned, expecting Daniel, or maybe my maid of honor, but instead, it was her. My mother-in-law-to-be, standing in the doorway with the faintest smirk curling her lips, as if she had been waiting for this moment. And then she said, in a voice that dripped with venom, "I warned you, sweetheart, but you just wouldn't listen." I froze, still crouched on the floor, my fingers tangled in the torn lace. Her smirk made my stomach twist, like she was proud of what she'd done. "Why?" My voice cracked, barely more than a whisper. "Why would you do this to me?" She stepped further into the room, her heels clicking softly against the hardwood, like the sound of a clock ticking down to my breaking point. "Because, darling, you're not good enough. You think you can just waltz in, marry my son, and take him away from me? Over my dead body." Her words hit me like a slap. I stood, my legs shaky, my dress ruined at my feet like a battlefield casualty. "This isn't about you. This is our wedding, mine and Daniel's. You've had your chance to live your life. Why can't you just let us have ours?" Her eyes narrowed, her lips curling into something darker than a smile. "Because you don't belong. You're nothing but a mistake he's too blinded to see. And if ruining a dress is what it takes to wake him up, then so be it." I felt tears sting my eyes, but anger burned hotter. "He'll know what you did. I'll show him. He'll finally see the truth." She laughed, actually laughed, and it was the cruelest sound I'd ever heard. "Oh, sweet girl, do you really think he'll believe you? My son would never turn against me. Not for you." That was the moment I realized the game she was playing. It wasn't just about the dress. It was about control. She wanted to break me, to push me so far that I'd give up, call off the wedding, and walk away. But I wouldn't. Not after everything. Not after how hard we'd fought to make it this far. With shaking hands, I shoved past her, running down the hallway toward Daniel's study. He needed to see this, to know what she had done. My heart pounded in my chest like a drum as I burst through the door. Daniel looked up from his desk, startled by my entrance. "What's wrong?" I opened my mouth, ready to spill everything. But then I saw her behind me in the reflection of the glass cabinet. Calm, composed, already preparing her lie. And when Daniel's eyes shifted past me, landing on her, I saw something that made my blood run cold. He smiled. "Daniel," I gasped, my voice trembling. She destroyed my dress." He blinked, confused, glancing between us. What are you talking about?" I pointed toward the hallway, my chest heaving. "It's ruined. She slashed it, poured wine all over it. Come see for yourself." Before he could move, his mother's hand landed gently on his shoulder, her voice soft, dripping with innocence. "Sweetheart, she's upset. I found her crying over the dress, and now she's blaming me." I would never. She let her words trail off, her eyes glistening with practiced tears. I couldn't believe it. Are you kidding me? You're going to stand there and pretend you didn't just admit it to my face? Daniel raised his hands. Okay, calm down. Both of you. Let's not turn this into World War III the night before the wedding. My heart cracked a little at that. World War III? Did he not understand the gravity of this? Daniel, I have proof. I fumbled for my phone, shoving it at him with shaking hands. Photos of the shredded fabric, the wine stains, the devastation. Look, this isn't an accident. He stared at the images, his brow furrowed, then looked back at his mother. For a split second, I saw doubt in his eyes, and hope flickered in my chest. But then she spoke again. Her voice was low, tender, almost breaking. Son, do you really think I would do that? After everything I've done for you? She's trying to turn you against me. She pressed a hand dramatically to her chest, her lip trembling. If you don't want me at your wedding, just say it. Don't let her make me the villain. Tears stung my eyes, not from sadness, but from sheer rage. She was twisting everything, painting herself as the victim while my ruined dress still lay in the next room. Daniel, I said, my voice sharp, desperate. If you believe her over me right now, then what does that say about us? The air hung heavy, his silence cutting deeper than any words. I searched his face for answers, for loyalty, for love. But all I saw was hesitation. And then he whispered, almost too softly to hear. Maybe the stress is getting to you. The room spun. My knees buckled, and I gripped the edge of his desk to stay upright. He didn't believe me. Not really. And when I turned toward his mother, she was smiling again, this time wide and victorious. My chest felt hollow, like Daniel's words had ripped something out of me. Stress? He thought this was just nerves? That I'd imagined the smirk, the venom in her voice, the deliberate cruelty? I stared at him, willing him to see the truth in my eyes, but he wouldn't meet my gaze. He turned away, rubbing his forehead, muttering something about how emotions are high before weddings. And behind him, his mother stood like a queen who had already won the war. I knew then that if I wanted justice, if I wanted to save my wedding, and maybe even my relationship, I couldn't rely on Daniel. I had to do this myself. That night, while everyone was asleep, I crept back into the room where my ruined dress still lay crumpled on the floor. My hands shook as I lifted the fabric, inspecting every inch. The cuts were clean, deliberate, not an accident. The wine stain had spread wide, but near the edge, the bottle had tipped. I followed the dark trail to the corner of the room, where the empty bottle still sat. And then I noticed something else. A faint glint under the dresser. I crouched, reaching for it, pulling out a pair of scissors. The blades were sticky with red wine, threads of lace still clinging to them. My stomach twisted, a mix of fury and triumph. I pulled out my phone, snapping photos, recording a video with whispered narration. This is what I found. This isn't stress. This isn't an accident. She did this. But then a floorboard creaked behind me. My heart leapt into my throat. I turned slowly, clutching the scissors like a weapon. In the dim light of the hallway, a shadow shifted. Can't sleep? The voice was low, mocking, unmistakable. Her silhouette filled the doorway. My grip tightened on the scissors. I know what you did, and I have proof now. She stepped closer, her face half hidden in shadow, her smile eerily calm. Oh, sweetheart, you think anyone will believe you over me? Go ahead. Show him. Show everyone. By the time I'm done, you'll look like the crazy bride who ruined her own dress. Her words chilled me to the bone. But as she turned to leave, I realized something. She wasn't afraid. Not of Daniel, not of me, not of the truth. Which meant she was planning something even worse. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face in the doorway, calm and smug, like she already knew I couldn't stop her. My phone, with the photos and video of the scissors, was clutched in my hand under the covers like a lifeline. But proof meant nothing if no one believed me. By morning, my body felt heavy, but adrenaline kept me moving. My maid of honor, Claire, arrived early to check on me. The moment she saw the dress, she gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Oh my God, who would do this? I hesitated. I wanted to scream the truth, to drag the witch out by her perfectly styled hair, and show Claire what kind of monster she was dealing with. Instead, I whispered, I think it was her. Claire's eyes widened. Daniel's mom. I nodded, my throat tightening. Claire looked down at the ruined dress, then back at me. This isn't just jealousy. This is sabotage. Her words echoed in my head all morning. Sabotage. And she was right. Destroying my dress wasn't the end game. It was just step one. By noon, my suspicions were confirmed. I overheard her in the kitchen, her voice low but sharp, as she spoke on the phone. I lingered just out of sight, heart pounding, forcing myself to stay quiet. Yes, cancel the flowers. Tell them the bride changed her mind. No, don't call her, call me directly. I'll handle it. My stomach dropped. She wasn't done. She was systematically dismantling everything. Claire must have seen the blood drain from my face when I returned to my room. What happened? She's canceling the flowers. I hissed, my hands shaking. She's making calls, pretending to be me. Claire's jaw tightened. Then we fight fire with fire. We catch her. We record her. The thought sent a rush of determination through me. Yes, if Daniel wouldn't see the truth willingly, then I'd shove it in front of him, undeniable and raw. But as I picked up my phone, ready to set the trap, a notification flashed across the screen, an email from the caterer confirming my cancellation. Except I hadn't canceled anything. My wedding wasn't just at risk. It was being erased, piece by piece. Claire paced the room, her arms crossed, fury radiating off her like heat. She's not just meddling, she's dismantling your wedding. Flowers, catering. What's next? The venue itself? I sat on the edge of the bed, my phone gripped tight, scrolling through the caterer's email again and again, as if reading it enough times would make it make sense. She won't stop. She'll destroy everything, and Daniel still won't believe me. Claire stopped pacing. Her eyes lit up with a sharpness I'd only seen when she was in problem-solving mode at work. Then we give him proof, so clear he can't ignore it. We set a trap. My chest tightened. A trap. She nodded. She's bold because she thinks no one will question her. Let's make her say it, on camera. Let's make her own it. The idea both terrified and electrified me. We quickly set the plan. Claire suggested we leave her alone in the bridal suite, where the replacement dress, rushed overnight by the boutique after Claire begged and cried to the seamstress, was hanging. If she came back to sabotage again, we'd be ready. We hid a phone on the dresser, camera aimed perfectly at the dress, recording. Every second felt like an hour as we waited in the hallway. My stomach knotted so tight I thought I might vomit. And then it happened. The door creaked open. Footsteps. A pause. I held my breath, clutching Claire's hand so hard she winced. Her voice floated out, quiet but vicious. Let's see if you can walk down the aisle in rags, you ungrateful little. The sound of fabric tearing sliced through the air. Claire's eyes went wide. She squeezed my hand, whispering, "We've got her." I wanted to burst in right then, to scream in her face, to drag her away from my second chance at a dress. But Claire shook her head firmly. Not yet. Let her bury herself. And she did. Every word, every rip of fabric, every poisonous mutter was caught on camera. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I pushed the door open so hard it slammed against the wall. She spun around, scissors in hand, frozen like a child caught stealing cookies. Except this wasn't cookies. This was my wedding. The room fell silent except for the ragged sound of my breathing. She stood there, scissors in hand, a fresh strip of lace dangling from the blades. The replacement dress, my last hope, was half shredded. For the first time, her smirk faltered. "This isn't what it looks like," she said quickly, tossing the scissors onto the dresser as if that erased what she'd done. Claire stormed in behind me, her voice sharp as steel. "Really? Because it looks exactly like you trying to ruin her wedding. Again." My chest burned with rage and heartbreak. "Why? Why are you doing this to me? To us?" She straightened, regaining that icy composure I'd come to dread. "Because you don't deserve him. You'll never be good enough. I will not stand by and watch you destroy his future." Before I could respond, footsteps echoed down the hallway. Daniel appeared in the doorway, confusion etched across his face. "What's going on?" I heard yelling. My heart stopped. This was it, the moment of truth. I pointed at the dress, the ripped fabric hanging like an accusation. "Your mother destroyed my dress, again. We caught her. It's on video." His eyes darted to the gown, then to the scissors, then to his mother. She pressed a hand to her chest, her voice trembling with fake hurt. "Danny, please. I was only trying to fix it. The hem was uneven. I didn't want her to be embarrassed. And now she's twisting it, making me into some kind of monster. I couldn't believe her audacity. My voice cracked with desperation. Fix it. By cutting it into pieces? You've been canceling my vendors, lying to everyone, and now this. Look at the proof. Claire held up the phone. It's all here. Every second. Daniel stared at the screen, pale and silent. His mother hovered beside him, her nails digging into his arm, whispering like poison in his ear. She's trying to drive a wedge between us. Don't let her. Don't let her ruin our family. Tears blurred my vision. I didn't want to make him choose, not like this, but it was already happening. The truth was laid bare, the lies unraveling. And then he said the words that made the floor crumble beneath me. Turn the camera off. I don't want to see it. My breath caught in my throat. He didn't want to see it. Not because there wasn't proof, because he was afraid of what that proof would mean. Afraid to see his mother for who she really was. Claire's jaw dropped. Are you serious right now? Daniel, she has your mother on video, literally destroying the dress, and you'd rather close your eyes? His fists clenched at his sides, his face pale. This is my mother. Do you think I want to watch something that will make me hate her? The words stabbed me deeper than the scissors ever could. I whispered, broken. So you'd rather doubt me than face the truth? Behind him, she seized the opening, her voice dripping with mock sorrow. Danny, you know I'd never hurt you. She's just emotional, overwhelmed. This wedding is too much for her. Maybe she isn't ready. Something inside me snapped. For too long, I'd bitten my tongue, hoping Daniel would open his eyes. But if he wouldn't, then I'd open everyone else's. No, I said, my voice steady now, rising with conviction. I am ready, and I won't let you destroy me. Before she could react, I snatched Claire's phone from her hand and stormed out into the hallway. Guests were arriving for rehearsal dinner, laughter and chatter filling the house. I could feel Daniel's panicked footsteps chasing me, but it was too late. I entered the living room where his relatives sat sipping wine, conversations halting as I appeared, pale and shaking, dress fabric clutched in one hand, the phone in the other. Everyone needs to see this, I announced, my voice trembling but loud enough to silence the room. This is what your beloved matriarch has been doing behind closed doors. Gasps rippled as I hit play. The video filled the screen, her voice sharp and venomous, the sound of fabric tearing, her cruel words cutting through the room. Let's see if you can walk down the aisle in rags. The silence that followed was deafening. Every eye turned toward her. Daniel stood frozen in the doorway, his mother pale but still defiant, her lips curling into something between a snarl and a smile. And then, slowly, she clapped. Bravo, she sneered. You want war? You've just declared it. For a moment, no one moved. The air was heavy, thick with disbelief. On the screen, her voice still echoed faintly, venom dripping from every word. I waited for someone, anyone, to finally say what I'd been screaming inside my head. She did this. She's the villain. But she was quicker. Her hands trembled as she clutched her pearls dramatically, her voice cracking with perfect theatrical precision. How dare you invade my privacy like that? You set me up. You tricked me, recorded me without my knowledge, and now you're humiliating me in front of my family? A murmur rippled through the room. Some relatives frowned at me. Others glanced nervously at Daniel. My pulse hammered in my ears. She wasn't even denying it. She was spinning it, making me look like the villain for exposing her. That's not what happened. I cried, my throat raw. She destroyed my dress. She admitted it. She tried to cancel the wedding vendors. Her sharp laugh cut me off. Oh, please. Do you hear yourself? What woman would sabotage her own son's wedding? You've twisted everything, just like I warned him you would. She turned to the crowd, her eyes glistening. She's unstable. I've been trying to protect him from her. A few gasps. Someone whispered, poor Danny. My cheeks burned. I felt naked, cornered, like every pair of eyes in that room was peeling away my dignity. I turned to Daniel, desperate. You know the truth now. You saw the video. How can you still let her play this game? But he just stood there, jaw tight, his eyes darting between us like a man watching his world split in two. He didn't move. He didn't speak. Claire finally broke the silence, her voice sharp as a blade. You all heard that video. Don't tell me you think she was protecting anyone. She was trying to destroy the bride. If you can't see that, you're blind. The room erupted, half the relatives defending her, the other half whispering that maybe Claire was right. The family was dividing right before my eyes. And in the center of it all, she turned to me, her lips curling into a smile meant only for me. This is just the beginning, sweetheart. Tomorrow, when you walk down that aisle, you'll wish you'd never tried to fight me. The house was silent, but not peaceful. It was the kind of silence that pressed on my chest, thick with tension, like the pause before a storm ripped everything apart. I sat on the edge of my bed, staring at the replacement dress, hastily repaired after her latest attack. The fabric still bore faint scars, jagged lines that no seamstress could fully erase. Claire sat cross-legged on the floor, scrolling furiously on her phone. We've got backups for the flowers and the catering. I pulled every favor I could. But if she tries anything else tomorrow, her voice trailed off, heavy with dread. I rubbed my temples, exhaustion sinking deep into my bones. She won't stop. No matter what we fix, she'll find something else to ruin. As if on cue, my phone buzzed. An email. I opened it, and my blood ran cold. Urgent notice, venue booking canceled. My hands shook so hard I nearly dropped the phone. I shoved it toward Claire. She did it. She canceled the venue. Claire's eyes widened. That's insane. The wedding is tomorrow. A bitter laugh escaped me, though nothing about it felt funny. She wants to make sure I don't even have an aisle to walk down. Panic clawed at my throat, but beneath it was something stronger. Rage. Pure, blinding rage. She wanted me broken, begging, crawling out of this family with my dignity in pieces. But if she thought I'd surrender, she didn't know me at all. Claire leaned forward, her eyes blazing. Then we outsmart her. Call the venue manager right now. Explain everything. If she forged your cancellation, they'll have to reinstate it. I dialed with trembling fingers, praying someone would answer. After 3 endless rings, a man picked up. Hello, Riverview Estate Events. This is Mark. Mark, this is the bride. I stopped, realizing I needed to steady my voice. This is my wedding you're hosting tomorrow. I just received a cancellation notice, but I didn't cancel anything. There was a pause. Papers shuffled. That's strange. The cancellation came through this morning. From your email address. My stomach dropped. That's impossible. I never. And then it hit me. My phone. My laptop. My accounts. She must have gotten into them somehow. Can you forward me the request? I asked, my voice shaking. Of course, Mark replied. But if this was fraudulent, you need to act fast. Otherwise, your spot will be given away. As soon as I hung up, Claire whispered the thought I was already terrified to say out loud. She's not just sabotaging you anymore. She's impersonating you. The morning sun should have felt like hope, but instead it burned against my skin like a spotlight, exposing every fracture in my world. Today was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. Instead, I woke up terrified that by sunset there would be no wedding at all. Claire had stayed over, refusing to leave me alone. She brewed coffee while I frantically checked emails, my hands trembling. Thank God. The venue manager had confirmed in writing that the cancellation was fraudulent. The estate was still ours. One battle won. But the war wasn't over. I slipped into the repaired gown, fingers brushing over the stitches where lace had been ripped. The scars in the fabric felt symbolic, like proof of survival. Claire pinned my veil, her eyes soft. You look like a bride who's already fought dragons and is still standing. But just as her words brought the first hint of calm, my phone buzzed again. A text from an unknown number. Hope you're ready to be humiliated in front of everyone. Smiley face. My stomach twisted. I didn't need to guess who it was. The drive to the venue was a blur of nerves. Guests were already arriving, filling the estate garden with chatter and pastel colors. But as I stepped out of the car, a ripple of whispers followed me. Heads turned. Eyes widened. I frowned, glancing at Claire. Why are they staring like that? Then I saw it. Posted on the venue's announcement board, a massive blown-up photograph. My face, but not the one I recognized. The image was doctored, humiliating, obscene. Words scrawled across it in bold red letters. Gold digger bride. The world tilted. Gasps and murmurs spread like wildfire. Someone snickered. Another covered their mouth in shock. I felt my chest cave in, the air ripped from my lungs. Claire lunged forward, yanking the poster down, her voice sharp. Who put this here? But I didn't need to ask. Standing across the courtyard, perfectly dressed, pearls gleaming in the sun, was her. My mother-in-law. She lifted a champagne glass and a mock toast, her smile wicked, satisfied. Daniel was by her side. and he wasn't stopping her. The laughter cut deeper than knives. Every whisper, every sideways glance dug into my skin like barbed wire. My hands trembled as Claire shoved the crumpled poster into her purse, muttering curses under her breath. I forced myself to breathe, to stay upright, to not collapse into the humiliation she had orchestrated for me. Gold digger. That's what she wanted everyone to believe. That I was marrying Daniel for money, not love. And the worst part? The way Daniel stood beside her, silent, his jaw clenched, but his body unmoving. He didn't tear the poster down. He didn't defend me. He didn't even look at me. I walked toward him, every step heavier than the last. Daniel, I said, my voice low but shaking. Did you know about this? He flinched, his eyes darting to his mother. She gave him the faintest nod, as if granting him permission to speak. I didn't, he said finally, but his hesitation was poison. Maybe we should just postpone until things calm down. The world spun. Postpone. After everything she's done? After she destroyed my dress, canceled my vendors, tried to erase our wedding? And now this. My voice cracked, raw with betrayal. You still can't see she's trying to destroy me? His mother's voice cut through, sweet as venom. Darling, we're only trying to protect you from making a mistake. A wedding built on lies will never last. She turned to the gathered guests, her tone dripping with authority. If she truly loved my son, she wouldn't need to manipulate and deceive. Gasps and murmurs rippled again. The weight of 100 eyes pressed against me, and for a split second, I wanted to run. To disappear, to let her win, because fighting felt like drowning in quicksand. But then Claire's hand slipped into mine, grounding me. Her whisper burned in my ear. If you run now, she wins forever. Show them who she really is. You've got the proof. I lifted my chin, my pulse roaring like war drums. My legs carried me toward the center of the courtyard, where every guest could hear me. My voice rang out, louder than I thought possible. You want the truth? Fine. You'll all hear it now. The crowd hushed. Daniel's eyes widened. His mother's smile faltered for the first time. Because I was done hiding. The garden was so quiet. I swear I could hear the leaves rustling in the breeze. Dozens of faces turned toward me, expectant, curious, some already judgmental. My heart hammered in my chest, but I refused to let it drown my voice. You've all seen the posters. You've heard her whispers, I said, scanning the crowd. My hands shook, but I held my phone high like a weapon. But what you don't know is what she's been doing behind the scenes. She didn't just spread lies. She tried to destroy this wedding from the inside out. Gasps. Daniel stepped forward slightly, his eyes wide, but I pressed on. She shredded my first wedding dress. She poured wine on it. She canceled my flowers and caterer. She even tried to cancel the venue by impersonating me. And I have proof. I tapped the screen. The video played on the venue's projector. Claire had already synced it earlier in case we needed it. My mother-in-law's voice filled the garden, cold and sharp. Let's see if you can walk down the aisle in rags, you ungrateful little. Then the sound of fabric tearing. The guests gasped in unison. Daniel's face drained of color. His mother stood frozen, her eyes darting desperately around the courtyard as the video continued, showing her hands ripping lace, her words dripping with venom. When it ended, the silence was crushing. She wanted to ruin me, I said, my voice breaking but strong. Not because I've done anything wrong, but because she can't stand to let her son choose me. A murmur rose among the guests. Some looked horrified, others angry. An older aunt stood and hissed. How could you? After everything we planned. Another voice called out. Disgraceful. For once, the spotlight wasn't on me, it was on her. She tried to recover, her voice shrill. This is taken out of context. She edited that video. But Claire stepped forward, fire in her eyes. No edits. No tricks. I filmed the whole thing, and half of you heard her admit it with your own ears yesterday. All eyes turned to Daniel. He looked like a man standing at the edge of a cliff, his world crumbling. He finally whispered, almost to himself, Mom, what did you do? She reached for him, panic breaking her mask. Don't you dare believe her over me. I'm your mother. Everything I did was for you. But Daniel pulled back, his face twisted with something between heartbreak and rage. No, you did this for yourself. Her mask shattered completely, her scream cutting through the shocked silence. If I can't stop this wedding, then I'll ruin what comes after. Her scream shattered the illusion of control she had clung to for so long. Guests recoiled, some whispering in disbelief, others openly glaring at her. The elegant garden, decorated with flowers and white chairs, suddenly felt more like a battlefield. Daniel stood stiff, his face pale as stone. For the first time, he didn't shield her. He didn't defend her. He simply stared, betrayed, as though seeing his mother clearly for the first time in his life. But she wasn't done. "I warned you," she hissed, her eyes locked on me like daggers. "You think you've won? I'll make sure this wedding never happens." Before anyone could stop her, she stormed toward the table where the wedding cake stood, an intricate three-tier masterpiece adorned with delicate sugar flowers. Gasps erupted as she lifted the entire top tier and hurled it across the lawn. It splattered in a grotesque explosion of frosting and fondant, the guests crying out in shock. I froze, my veil trembling in the breeze. My heart hammered, but not from fear anymore, from fury. This wasn't sabotage in the shadows. This was open war, and everyone was watching. Claire darted forward, blocking her path from further destruction. "Enough. You've humiliated yourself enough already." But she shoved Claire aside, her voice shaking with manic rage. "He's mine. He doesn't belong to you. You'll never be part of this family." Daniel finally moved, stepping between us, his voice breaking. "Mom, stop. This is my choice. My life. If you destroy this, you destroy me too." Her face twisted, torn between desperation and pride. For a fleeting moment, I saw it, the truth. This wasn't love, it was possession. She couldn't stand the thought of losing control. I took a deep breath, stepping forward despite the chaos around us. My voice rang clear, stronger than I felt inside. "You can rip dresses. You can throw cakes. You can spread lies. But you can't destroy love. Not mine. Not ours." The guests erupted in applause, their loyalty shifting in an instant. Gasps turned to cheers, murmurs to shouts of support. She spun, wild-eyed, realizing her mask was gone forever. And then Daniel turned to her, his voice cold as steel. "If you can't accept her, then you're the one who's not welcome here." Her gasp cut through the crowd like glass shattering. For the first time, she looked small, powerless, cornered. But her final words, spat through clenched teeth, still made my blood run cold. "You'll regret this. Both of you." The courtyard was still vibrating from her final words, the guests buzzing with shock, anger, disbelief. She stood there trembling, her pearls askew, mascara streaking down her cheeks. For all her power plays, for all her sabotage, she suddenly looked small. Daniel's hand found mine. For the first time all day, his grip was steady, firm, like an anchor. His voice cut through the chaos, louder than the whispers. "I choose her. Today. Tomorrow. For the rest of my life. If you can't accept that, Mom, then you're choosing to walk away from me." A collective gasp rippled through the crowd. His mother staggered back as though he'd struck her. Her lips parted, but no sound came. For once, she had no script, no manipulation left. Only silence. Slowly, painfully, she turned and stormed out of the venue, her heels clicking like gunshots against the stone path. The gate slammed behind her. For a long moment, the guests remained frozen, unsure if the wedding was even still possible after the chaos. Then Claire, ever my savior, clapped her hands together sharply. "Well, what are we waiting for? Let's get these two married." Laughter burst through the tension, light and nervous, but real. The officiant cleared his throat, adjusting his papers. The music began again, tentative at first, then stronger. As I walked down the aisle, my repaired gown flowing around me, the scars of the torn lace brushed against my legs. And strangely, instead of feeling ashamed, I felt proud. This dress wasn't perfect. Neither was this day. But both had survived fire, claws, and venom, and so had I. Daniel's eyes met mine at the altar. They weren't filled with hesitation anymore. They were filled with something fierce, raw, and unshakable. Love, yes, but also respect. The vows blurred through tears. The ring slipped onto trembling fingers. When the officiant finally pronounced us husband and wife, the cheers that erupted weren't just for a marriage. They were for a victory, for endurance, for truth finally seen. Later, as we shared our first dance, Daniel whispered in my ear, his voice heavy with guilt and gratitude. "I'm sorry I doubted you. I'll never let anyone come between us again." I smiled through tears, resting my head against his chest. Then we've already won. But deep down, I knew one thing for certain. His mother's words hadn't been a bluff. She had lost the battle, yes, but whether she would ever stop fighting, that remained to be seen. Still, for that night, with his arms around me and the music carrying us, I allowed myself something she had tried to steal from me all along: joy.